What are we discussing on today's Locked On Diamondbacks podcast? D-backs bludgeon the White Sox 10-0, but somehow, even in victory, it feels like the D-backs lost.
You are Locked On Diamondbacks, your daily Arizona Diamondbacks podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into the Locked On Diamondbacks podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. You're listening to who? Always charismatic host of this podcast, Millard Thomas, multimedia journalist and a graphic designer. So please go check out my website, millardthomas24.myportfolio.com. On there, you can see all my latest work, from my packages to my articles to my photos and my graphic design. On today's Locked On Diamondbacks podcast, we are going to be discussing D-backs bludgeoning the White Sox, but the injuries piling up. And is Ryne Nelson the real D-backs pitcher of the future? So a whole bunch I want to talk to you guys about on today's podcast. But first, I want to say thank you for making Locked On Diamondbacks your first listen every day. I would not be able to do this podcast without you, my loyal listeners, sharing, subscribing, reviewing, doing all that so I could do this podcast for you. Thank you. It's free. It's available on all platforms. So please continue to tell your friends. And one of those platforms is YouTube. Please hit subscribe to Locked On Diamondbacks on YouTube. Back here on the Locked On Diamondbacks podcast. And now let's talk about that D-backs versus White Sox game. And I want to start with the positives with this podcast because there's a whole lot of injury news to talk about because D-backs take down the White Sox 10-0. But even though the D-backs win big, it still feels like they lost this game. Maybe not the game, but the season still feels bad. The vibes are still down, despite the D-backs winning 10-0 in a shutout. Josh Naylor leaves. Eugenio Suarez leaves. We learned Corbin Carroll gets put on the injured list. Like, the vibes are down for the Arizona Diamondbacks with all their injuries. We'll discuss more about their injuries in segment number 2, but I at least want to start from a positive standpoint with this game because D-backs at least handled their business against the Chicago White Sox. We know this is one of the worst teams in Major League Baseball. Maybe the worst. The Colorado Rockies and a couple other teams have an argument, but the White Sox, terrible franchise, went on a whole rant yesterday about how the D-backs need to win this series, not just for their own sake in the wild card race, but also for baseball's sake. The ethos and the spirit of sports, competitiveness. The Reinsdorfs up there in Chicago do not care about building a winner and a competitive team. And that's why I really want to see the D-backs taking it to the Chicago White Sox in the series, one for the wild card race. The other reason is because at least Ken Kendrick opens up that wallet, spends, and tries to build a contender in the NL West against other California teams. Meanwhile, the White Sox in Chicago just sit on their hands every single season. So I want to see the D-backs destroy the Chicago White Sox in this series. And so far, in game number 1, the D-backs are off to a good start, which I love to see. You had the offense go off in this game. Everyone in the lineup pretty much had a good game. Despite guys leaving, you still had a great offensive performance by everyone. We'll get into more of that in a second. Erod, we'll talk about him first. Fantastic in this game. Again, is it the Chicago White Sox? Is it an inferior opponent? Yes, but we've seen Erod struggle against teams like the Washington Nationals this year. Like, Erod, if he qualified, would have one of the worst ERAs in Major League Baseball. And so we can't just discount that he had a quality start, even though it's against one of the worst teams in the sport. He still went out there 6 innings, no earned runs, and we know he's been pretty good at strikeouts this year. 10 Ks against the Chicago White Sox. Again, is there anyone in that White Sox lineup that scares you? Probably not. Luis Robert should have been that guy, but the White Sox organization had just absolutely destroyed him. It's sad to see. Erod just went out there and just threw fastballs. Like, he did not care at all. He knew what he wanted to throw in that game, and he just challenged every White Sox hitter in that game. He was living around the strike zone. He only throws around 91, 92 miles per hour, sometimes 93, and it didn't matter. threw the fastball 54% of the time. He did mix it up, actually. A little changeup, 16%, cutter 12, sinker 11, slider 7. But this was a guy who was not afraid to come into the strike zone, especially when it was 2 strikes. He was going to that fastball and he was trying to put guys away. And he's done that all season. That's part of the reason why he has a 5.4 ERA, because he has not been afraid to challenge hitters at all with that fastball. And the thing is, most teams aren't the Chicago White Sox. This is a real lineup of guys who, some of them are up and coming. Maybe a couple years from now, they'll be good. But it's a real who's who of, can you trust anybody in that lineup to, bat 250 by the end of the season? Like, that's kind of a question right now that the White Sox are wrestling when looking at their lineup. Who's even a keeper on that White Sox team, right? Big questions for that organization going forward. But Erod went out there. He saw the lineup on paper and he said, listen, guys, I'm going to do what I do. Yes, it doesn't work against teams like the Braves and the Nationals, but this is the worst of the worst. I'm just going to go out there and I'm going to pound the strike zone with my fastball. That's what Erod did, to the tune of a lot of success tonight. Then the offense went completely off. Perdomo, he got going. We know he's been struggling the last few weeks. Nice to see him get going. He's someone that's going to be relied on a lot more with these injuries. Need that first month Perdomo back. Ketel Marte just continues to cement himself as the best second baseman in the sport, pulling himself away further from the pack. Believe the latest All-Star update had him leading second baseman for the All-Star game to be starting it, as he should be. 3 for 6 in this game against the White Sox. His slash line now in the season, 316, 422, 595. It does not matter how many games he plays. He is so much more productive than any other second baseman in the sport. Then Pavin Smith just continues to be a star for Arizona. Every time he goes into a little slump, he hits a home run to do enough to keep himself alive on the major league level, quite honestly, because the strikeout rate is insane. He has had long slumps since the start of May, but he seems to always hit a timely home run. And tonight, he had 2 home runs, 4 ribbies, and they were bombs by Pavin Smith. These were not like little ticky-tack home runs. No, let me pull up StatCast real quick, because which home run was this? The first home run by Pavin Smith in the second inning, 105.4 miles per hour off the bat, 389 feet, but a home run in all 30 ballparks. His other home run, Pavin Smith, that was 103.9 off the bat. That went 416 feet, and that is a home run in all 30 ballparks. So 2 smashes by Pavin Smith, who, again, a guy who we never considered to be a power threat. That was kind of his weakness his whole time being in Arizona. It's like he's a first baseman, but he has no power. Now Pavin Smith, 2 home runs today. He's got 8 on the season. So he's starting to heat back up again, which is nice, because the D-backs desperately need bats, as Josh Naylor left this game. Eugenio Suarez got hit on the hand. He left this game, and we'll talk about the D-backs injuries piling up in segment number 2. But first, I want to talk to you guys about Rugiet, because you've probably heard of Viagra or Cialis. Maybe you've even tried them. But if you're looking for something beyond the useful pill, it's time to meet Rugiet Ready. Rugiet Ready is a next-gen prescription treatment designed to amplify arousal in the brain and boost blood flow. Unlike the usual pills that can take hours, Rugiet's 3-in-1 formula dissolves under your tongue and kicks in fast, on average in 15 minutes. Effects can last up to 36 hours, so you can stay confident and control when the moment is right. Head to Rugiet.com/LockedOnMLB and use code LockedOnMLB to get 15% off today. That's RUGIET.com/LockedOnMLB. Let me say that one more time, because I butchered it a little bit there. RUGIET.com/LockedOnMLB and use promo code LockedOnMLB for 15% off. All right, back here on the Locked On Diamondbacks podcast. Now let's talk about the D-backs and their injuries piling up because this is a team with a training staff that just cares so much about resting their players, right? We just went to Coors Field and we were resting guys left and right because of the elevation and because we were scared of injuries. And yet, for a team that load manages more than anybody else, the injuries are starting to pile up. Corbin Carroll just placed on the injured list, broken wrist. He's going to be out minimum 10 days. Hopefully, he heals after that, but is there a possibility for surgery? It sounds like it, but we just don't know yet. The issue is his wrist seems like it hasn't responded well since being hit. Seems like it's been a little swollen. You don't want to see that from Corbin Carroll. Might take him out the all-star running, which you just hate to see because he should have been an all-star starter despite the votes being low for Corbin Carroll. I don't know why Corbin Carroll's not more of a fan favorite around Major League Baseball. This guy is 5'10" and hits moonshots. I don't understand. And he's a speedster. He needs to get his speed up or his steals up because if he was like at 20 steals right now with how many home runs he had, I think he'd be running away with an all-star spot. But now that he's going on the injured list, we'll see what happens to Corbin Carroll there. Josh Naylor, he leaves the game. Josh Naylor is one of those instances where I look at the training staff and I say, what the heck is going on? Josh Naylor, obviously in pain, wincing, grunting every time he swings his bat, yet he stays out there, tries to just muscle and power through it until he just physically can't go anymore. If you're resting him in Coors Field, how did you not notice that this guy was hurt, right? Did you not see him at BP earlier in the day? Was it just an injury during the game? Like, it feels like Josh Naylor has been like fighting through something for a while. Maybe he exasperated it today, but I don't understand how we can rest more guys than anyone, but also when a guy's clearly hurt, like a Justin Martinez, we still make him pitch through his dead arm to the tune of 30 plus pitches, and then he blows out his elbow. A guy like Josh Naylor clearly doesn't look right. We make him power through probably longer than he should. Gabby Moreno, he's injured. He fractured his finger, right? He fractured something in his hand. We didn't even know he had a fracture. We let Gabby keep playing. Now he's going to be out weeks. Like, it's almost malpractice at this point. Like, we're not even realizing our players are injured, and we're still putting them out there and risking injury. For a team that's always like, sit this guy, sit that guy, when a guy's clearly hurt, we seem to always play him. But when guys are healthy and hot, that's when it's time to hit the bench. This team just makes absolutely no sense when it comes to players' health. Eugenio Suarez left the game today. It seems like he should be okay. He's day-to-day. I'm hoping no injured list stint. X-rays, I think, came back negative for him. So, Eugenio, we'll see what the swelling's looking like. He was in good spirits after the game, but he's been insanely hot. Just won NL Player of the Week. Like, the fact that he got hurt for the D-backs just adds insult to injury and really makes you feel like there's a black cloud over this team. Like, if Suarez is going down after winning Player of the Week honors, Corbin Carroll, who's fighting for an all-star spot, Josh Naylor, who's pending free agent, having a great year, Gabby Moreno, who, again, Gabby Moreno is someone entering the season I predicted to finish top 10 in WRC Plus at catcher. Since the start of May, he's been 7th among catchers in WRC Plus. He had over 300 average, over 800 OPS. Like, he was really incredible the last 5-6 weeks of the season. Now he's going to be out a few weeks due to injury. Adrian Del Castillo, even in Reno, he's day-to-day. He just came back from injury. Now he's hurt again. Dre Jameson is hurt. Jeff Brigham is hurt. Christian Mena is on the 60-day. Kendall Graveman's on the 15-day. And don't even get me started on the guys out for the season. Corbin Burns, AJ Puck, Justin Martinez, even guys I don't like. Tommy Henry, Jordan Montgomery. Remember Blake Walston? He's out. Christian Montes Diaca, we had him on the roster for like 3 weeks and didn't pitch him. Somehow he's hurt and out for the season. The injuries of this D-backs team is insane. Like, again, Christian Montes is someone we weren't even playing. As soon as we finally did, he got hurt. Maybe it's because he was sitting too long. Maybe that's why he got injured. I don't know. D-backs injuries are piling up. Now they're dipping into their farm system to hope to try and replace some of these injured guys. And one guy who just got called back up, is someone that I've been pounding the drum for a while to get another look by the D-backs if Pavin Smith struggled. But now he's getting his opportunity just because the D-backs have nobody else. Jake the Rake McCarthy is back for the Arizona Diamondbacks. I love to see it. Jake the Rake is one of my favorite players in Arizona. And yes, he started off really slowly for Arizona. He was 3 for 41 to start the season. That is not what you want to see. But so far down in Reno, he's been having a very good 2025 season, batting 314, 840 OPS. And he's got 12 stolen bases. And so we know he can crush it down in Reno. Let's hope he can parlay that back up on the major league level because we need Jake McCarthy. His leadoff ability with Corbin Carroll out. Jake McCarthy, you put him back at the top of the lineup, could be very helpful for this D-backs team because right now, potential lineups that we're looking at for the D-backs get kind of crazy. And one guy I forgot to mention in segment number 1, who we'll mention right now when talking about potential lineups, because maybe you go Geraldo Perdomo or Ketel Marte 1 and 2, right? Because Perdomo's kind of like that Corbin Carroll now. So maybe it just depends on what pitcher's on the mound. But you probably go Perdomo or Ketel 1 or 2. Pavin Smith probably number 3. And this is lineups assuming there's no Eugenio, no Gabby, no Corbin Carroll, and no Josh Naylor, because I don't think any of those guys are going to play in game 2 against the White Sox. And so go Perdomo, Ketel 1, 2. Pavin number 3. Probably go Gurriel 4. Do you go Grichuk 5 at that point? And then after that, maybe you go like Yamardo Vargas, who we didn't discuss in segment number 1, but he was fantastic for the D-backs in this game. He was 2 for 4, but almost had a couple home runs, and he's just been fantastic overall on this road trip. Been like a baby Ketel Marte, and so maybe you put him at number 6. Then maybe you go like Thomas, Jake McCarthy back to back, and then your catcher. We just signed James McCann. Like maybe we see the debut of him. He's a fine veteran catcher. He's not going to provide much offensive upside. He is a one-time All-Star, which is kind of interesting, but he's old at this point, and that's okay. He's in his mid-30s. How old is James McCann? He just turned 35 not that long ago. So still provide solid defense. Still got maybe a little bit of pop in that bat. Had 8 home runs in 65 games last year for the Baltimore Orioles. But he just depth at this point until we get some guys back healthy. Jose Herrera, I don't hate. It does feel like he gets a clutch hit when we need him. And then Tim Tawa is going to be the go-to guy off the bench. Bench looking incredibly weak right now. The overall lineup is weak. But Perdomo, Ketel, and don't forget, Gurriel's been hot. Randall Grichuk with some consistent playing time. We'll see if Pavin Smith can keep the hot streak going. And I think Jake McCarthy back in the lineup will be a positive contributor for the D-backs. And so the offense probably not going to be as dynamic with all these all-star potential guys out. But on the mound in game 2, we do have Ryne Nelson, who maybe is the real D-backs pitcher of the future. We'll discuss in segment number 3. But first, I want to talk to you guys about Monarch Money, because ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. Your personal CFO giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. When I started using Monarch, I realized just how much I was spending on food delivery. Now I budget smarter and save more. No more late night door dashes to the crib. Plus, it saves me calories for the summer. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. Back here on the Locked on Diamondbacks podcast, and now let's talk about Ryne Nelson. Is he really the future, and can he do what Erod just did against the Chicago White Sox? Because you best believe Ryne Nelson. Listen, guys, we're sponsored by FanDuel. I think we should go on FanDuel tomorrow in the morning and lay some big money down on Ryne Nelson. Let's take the over on the total score, considering the D-backs have nobody tomorrow. and the fact that Ryne Nelson's on the mound, because I think Ryne Nelson's going to go out there and dominate this Chicago White Sox team. And the reason I believe that is because Ryne Nelson has been straight up dominant for the Arizona Diamondbacks this season and over the last calendar year. We talk a lot about how Ryne Nelson arguably has been the best D-back starter for a while now, but I think the numbers are finally there where you don't have to say arguably anymore. From this time now till last season, this time, a full calendar year from July 1st last year to it's June 23rd. So we'll give him this start and one more start before we can say it's a full calendar year. But at this point, it's been long enough. Ryne Nelson has been elite for a while now. So far in 2025, if you take away Ryne Nelson's one start against the Cincinnati Reds, do you know what his ERA is in 2025? If you take away his, and again, if you do this for every starter, I'm sure there's a lot of guys who have good ERAs. I'm sure Brandon Pfaadt's ERA is pretty good again if you take away his blow-up start against the Nationals. I'll do that another day for you guys. But Ryne Nelson, take away his 7 earned runs, 3 innings against the Cincinnati Reds. He has a 1.37 ERA and 5 starts this year as a starter. Ryne Nelson's been not just elite this year as a starter. Do you know what Ryne Nelson's ERA is going back to last season, since July 1st of 2024? That's 104 innings pitched. That's a pretty good sample size. His ERA going back to last season now is 3.28. This is a guy who's been absolutely dominant for the Arizona Diamondbacks for a calendar year now. And it's so interesting to see because for Ryne Nelson, we always said this guy can't be a good starter because he's too dependent on his fastball. He's pretty much a 2-pitch guy. He's too predictable. Everyone knows what he's going to throw. And because of it, if you're just going to be fastball dependent in a league where everyone wants to crush the fastball, you're just not going to survive. Little did we know Ryne Nelson was going to develop one of the best fastballs in Major League Baseball because his fastball this season has become unhittable. Is he throwing at 99 miles per hour? No, but he is a guy that averages 95, 96 on the fastball on average, which means he could go up to 97 when he needs to. The fastball this season, his best pitch by far, and it's something he throws a ton. 60% of the time, he's throwing his fastball, which is more than last season, even more than 2023. And the numbers on his fastball this season, by far the best in his career. 195 average on the fastball, an expected batting average of 261, which tells you it's legit. A slug of 331 with an expected slug of 401, even a WABA of just 276. Like, the numbers on the fastball are elite. And because of that, all the other numbers are also great on his other pitches. The slider's been fantastic. The cutter, like, you go up and down. Every pitch he's thrown has been fantastic this season. But it all starts with his fastball, which he throws more than any other pitch. And this guy is so fastball dependent, but it does not matter. Hitters know what's coming. They know what he's going to throw. And Ryne Nelson still throws that fastball when he needs to. 0-2 count, 2-0 count. The fastball's coming, and Ryne Nelson has been fantastic with it this season. He's been good to both hitters on both sides of the plate, more dominant against lefties, actually, which is kind of crazy. He's got those reverse splits going. Lefties are batting 176 against Ryne Nelson this year with a sub 600 OPS. Like, I think all the numbers are just screaming. Bet the under on the game tomorrow because of the D-backs' lack of players and because of Ryne Nelson expected to go out there and just dominate. Because if Erod can go out there and give you 6 innings, no earned runs, 10 strikeouts, Ryne Nelson might pitch a complete game shutout. He might get a no-hitter tomorrow. Because speaking of no-hitters, there is a little Tyler Gilbert out there for the Chicago White Sox. It was fun to see a former friend of the Arizona Diamondbacks, a guy who had a no-hitter in his debut. So if Ryne Nelson could get a little Tyler Gilbert inspiration and pitch a no-hitter, that would be very interesting. But at the very least, we're going to need Ryne Nelson to have a great game and pitch deep into the ball game, because with the way that the D-backs lineup is currently set up, like, typically I would be like, okay, this is one of those games where if Ryne Nelson goes 5 innings, it's fine because we're going against the White Sox and I expect our offense to destroy them like they did in game number 1. But going to game 2, if you're telling me there's no Carroll, no Gino, no Naylor, And then you never know with Torey Lovello. He could be a guy like, it's been a minute since Perdomo sat down. Chicago's a tough city. The elevation, we're close to the water. Let's sit Perdomo in game 2. Like, I would not be surprised at all if Torey Lovello pulled some shenanigans like that and just started resting someone that we really needed in game number 2. And so I would expect this game to be won by Ryne Nelson, going 7 innings, 1 earned run or less, and then 7 or more strikeouts. Like, I'm going on FanDuel. I'm placing that parlay today. Give me Ryne Nelson over on innings pitch. Give me the over on strikeouts. Give me the under on total runs in the game, and let's go. Would love to see Jake McCarthy get a hit going in his first game. And what I really want to see is maybe a little small ball by this D-backs offense. I'm a guy typically out on small ball. I don't like the idea of bunting, especially when it's a Torey Lovello bunt special, when it's a man on first and like nobody out or 1 out. And it's like, we're just trying to move a guy over from first to second with Geraldo Perdomo. Like, how many times I've seen a good D-backs hitter just try to move a runner over from first to second with 1 out or less is insane. When it's Jose Herrera up, because there was a play the other day when it was like first and second with Jose Herrera up, and he placed a bunt, so it could be second and third with 1 out. I'm okay with that. If you want to go second to third with nobody out with a Jose Herrera, or move 2 runners over into scoring position with Jose Herrera with no outs, I'm okay with that. But the man on first with a 1 out or less, I could never get behind that, especially when you're putting Geraldo Perdomo in those positions. But in this series, with all these guys out, I wouldn't mind seeing a little small ball. You got Perdomo, got Tawa, got Alec Thomas, you got Jake McCarthy. You play all of them together, all of a sudden your team speed isn't too bad. And maybe you could get a little bit going with a little bunting, with a little sacrifice hit there. Maybe get some guys into motion, maybe a little hit and run. We know the D-backs, Torey Lovello, love to do a little hit and run. And so I think this could be a classic small ball. We're just trying to move runners over, try and get timely hits, or try and do a little hit and run, maybe pull a trick play or 2 out of our bag. Because again, it's also the Chicago White Sox. Like, I think this is a series where you could get a little bit more crazy, have a little bit more fun, especially with so many guys out. Maybe do a little bit more trickery and try to pull something. This isn't football. You can't go for like, an onside kick, but there are versions of that where you could get a little bit more trickery in the Major League Baseball game. Maybe take a page out the Savannah Bananas book, because they know how to do a trick play. So for the Arizona Diamondbacks, I'm going on FanDuel and I'm pounding Ryne Nelson stats tomorrow. I'm definitely coming home with some money. Now, that's it for this edition of the Locked On Diamondbacks podcast. Come back tomorrow for more Diamondbacks news coverage and insight. And as always, stay safe, stay healthy. Deuces.